This episode of St. James's Pod is brought to you by Total Supplements. Visit their website, totalsupplements.co, to discover their range of nutritionist-tested supplements, gummies, shakes, and natural extracts. From popular sports supplements like whey protein, creatine, vitamin tablets, and powders, to mental health supplements such as nootropics and mushrooms, they've got you totally covered. They also have men's health collection offering testosterone support and beauty supplements to keep you looking like your absolute best. I personally use Total Supplements products, and I have been using them from before they came on board to sponsor the podcast, so I'm hugely excited to be partnering with a brand that I know and love. So whether you train hard, work hard, or take an active interest in your overall health, use our code stjames'pod, that's STJAMESPOD, for 25% off your entire order. The link's in the description. Support the podcast and visit totalsupplements.co now and tell them St. James's Pod sent you. We are back. This is St. James's Pod, back after a mini hiatus. I'm Sam. I'm here with Tom. Alex is joining us. He'll be on very soon. I'm not sure actually where he is, but hopefully he's coming. We're back and we've been away for a while, so for regular listeners, obviously we did mention, I think it was before the AC Milan game, that we were all meeting up in Spain for Jack from The Athletic, who's been on the podcast before, his wedding. And we actually watched that game on his stag do. So obviously we can't really talk about that game anyway, so we didn't do that one because we were too drunk to really take it in. And then, yeah, we just ended up having a bit of a holiday and we're back. So we will discuss some things that we've missed during the break. For example, we'll give our thoughts on the amazing game that was PSG, which you were at the game, Tom, a bit later in the show. But first of all, the big news at the moment is surrounding Sandro Tonali, so let's go straight into him. Tom, yeah, I know it's a bit up in the air at the minute about can he play, can he not, what sort of bans are you going to get? But first of all, what's your thoughts on the situation as a whole, to go into the first topic?
Well, it seems to be becoming quite a regular thing that we're seeing players be involved in these gambling scandals. Obviously, we've seen quite a few in recent times in the Premier League. Currently, Ivan Toney's out suspended.
Toney's the big name. Comes to mind.
He's the biggest one, yeah, and he's not back until December. But and now obviously this Italian one, which is affected, obviously not just Tonali, but there's a few other players involved who play for Juve, and a player who's playing for Villa as well, Zaniolo, who've been involved in this. So yeah, it's quite it's obviously quite a big thing. Italy takes a very hard stance on gambling. We know that they've had a bit of a dodgy past as well with match fixing, and we have to go back to the times where Juve were involved and had titles stripped and everything from them for the match fixing scandals. So that obviously then brings a worry on how heavy they're going to come down on Tonali for this. It's obviously you don't like to hear people who have admitted that they've got an addiction. Like, it's obviously hope that he's going to get the right support he needs. But yeah, it's thrown up a lot of like things for me, which I'm a bit sort of baffled by, and some things are starting to make a little bit more sense. I know we've talked about when he first signed, there was all these rumours about did he want to come, was he felt like he was being forced out of his club, like his boyhood club, and that he's never looked like he's smiled since he's been into James's Park, and then
won a bet for a while.
Well, exactly. He's just as bad at betting than I am by the sounds of it. If he's if he's not happy about it, but yeah, it's starting to make a little bit of sense. At least I don't know. I might be just putting two and two together and getting five, but it's just the things like this, like yeah, AC Milan. Did they know? Like, was there
Yeah.
something there that they were like, right? Do we need to move him on? Did his agent know? Like, and that's why he was touting him about all these things. But then, why didn't like, if that is the case, like, you know, did we do enough due diligence ourselves before we signed him? That he might have had
Yeah.
these things going on.
It's an interesting
Yeah,
point because obviously we do sign, especially Eddie Howe seems to sign on a player's personality as well as his talent and everything like that. So obviously if he's got a gambling addiction, like you would think that would come up in the kind of background checks and stuff. But I guess that side of things is a lot harder to kind of check than a player's style of play and his ability and stuff. But it would be interesting with the AC Milan, did they know situation? Because it does, when you look back now, it's like we got him for like a pretty good price considering all his talent and like how he was sort of viewed by people in the know of football. Like he's going to be the next big thing, and it was his boyhood club and everything like that, as you say. So if they did know whether there's any sort of case to sort of sue them for some of that money back. But I think like what was your first sort of thought when the story broke? Because I was at the time I was like, oh, this is just, it'll be fine because it was in Italy and it's more to do with illegal casinos than anything else. It'll be like a slap on the wrist or a fine, or if it is a ban, it'll be a ban in Italy because that's where it happened and stuff. But then it came out it's more than that, and he's betting on football, and then even worse, like he's admitted yesterday, or maybe this morning in the UK, that he actually bet on AC Milan games and the result of AC Milan games when he was playing for them. So that's obviously as bad as it gets in football.
yeah.
Rules of betting. So at first I wasn't too concerned. I don't know about you. I don't know if it was a massive concern straight away, but now obviously I'm pretty much resigned to the fact he's getting a lengthy ban.
Yeah, I didn't know if, like you say, if it was more stuff to do with just, yeah, not necessarily the football side of things, but just illegal gambling in Italy, that he might have got a suspended sentence in Italy, and that he might have had a ban playing for the Italian national team, but he would be unaffected for carrying on in the Premier League. But as soon as you start hearing that it's football bets being placed, you know that FIFA take a stance on things, like that's how Tony's, like, he's banned from all football activities, like he can't play for England, can't play for his club, and so it's the same would apply for Tonali in that sense. But yeah, like if we look at the Tony example and the Tonali one, obviously we know some of the detail that Tony's talked about, that he never bet on games that he was involved in, was it? Or
I think that's what he said, didn't he? But
yeah, he wasn't trying to influence any result that he was directly involved in. Whereas with Tonali betting on games for AC Milan while he was there as a player, and most likely playing in those games, like that, just rings alarm bells, like from the offense.
And then we've seen the video where he picks up the yellow card at Aston Villa playing for us, which it very much looks like he's purposely not leaving the field to pick up a yellow. Which, now that you know that, you look at it in like that kind through those eyes, and you're like, yeah, he's definitely wanting a yellow card for his bet. But
that's it. And these yellow card ones seem to be one of the bets which seem to get called out more than anything, when players are getting caught up in it. Seems to be yellow cards or tackles made, or things ones which are just the spot fixing, spot betting ones. It's never really like the ones which. Yeah, that was it. Sorry, yeah, Tony. Now I just remember. Yeah, he was betting on himself to score. That was what he said. Which, yeah, I don't know if like you think that that's like too bad. I suppose like he's already got an incentive to score anyway, like as a striker. But it's when you're looking for yellow cards and just stuff like that, and kind of think like if he's betting on it himself, he's obviously got like other people involved, other players that might be betting on games that he's involved in and that he can influence. And how much further does it go? Like, does it just stop at him, or is he part of some like wider like group that are doing this on a more wider scale?
Yeah. I think the investigation probably suggests that is the case. It's a wider thing. So with the guy who's already been charged, or he's had his punishment dished out, because I read it was a 7-month ban, but you were saying before it's like it's a 1-year ban, but it's going to get reduced to 7 months. Is that if he like doesn't bet within that time or something?
I think it's all down to the player admitting guilt, admitting they've got a problem, and seeking like help and support, and to show that they're willing to kind of make right of what the situation is. And I think that's the case that with Tonali as well. So I'd imagine he'd get a similar ban. I'd hope that he'd get a similar ban. Depends just on how severe the sort of, or the numbers that we're talking about with these bets. Like obviously we're not like privy to know like how
much he's winning
prevalent it's been, like how much he's winning, like and how much he's like also added like to other people's pockets as well, if there's a bigger group involved. So hopefully Tonali's not the ringleader in all this, because I would imagine they would get the heavier sanctions. But if he is going to be suspended for like get a 1-year suspension reduced down to 7 months, then obviously that's him out for the season, and like into next, like maybe all pre-season. So it's a while.
Well, that brings us on to the January transfer window, I guess, but we've just had a new sponsor unveiled in Saudi Air. Is going to be our new airline sponsor, which I don't think we've had one of them before, but we do now.
No.
So hopefully that's a nice wedge of money. And there was quite a bit of concern that we're actually coming in as the stadium sponsor, and that it was going to affect the name of St James's and stuff. But obviously that's been cleared up, and it's actually the airline partner. So where would you spend that incoming money in January? Or are you thinking like we're gonna have to buy a centre mid if Tonali's gonna be banned for so long? So
I think so. I know we've like got Willock to come back from an injury, and we've not seen him all season. But even then, like I was still hoping that Willock would come in and complement with Tonali still being available. So it's still a man down in a position that I still feel as though if we lose a couple more to injuries, then we would be looking light again. And like for example, the ones that we've got on the fringes, like Anderson and Miley, for example, like. Yeah, for Anderson, he might be seeing this as like, right, okay, this is my chance. Like, I'm bumping myself up the pecking order now with Tonali not being around. So, can I nail this position down and challenge the ones around like Longstaff and Bruno and Joe and everybody to come back? So, yeah, could be that. Could be that Eddie sees that as right. Okay, Anderson, prove yourself time. I'd still want us to look and explore even a short term sort of thing, potentially. Just maybe look at a loan deal for the end of the season, just to cover that gap that Tonali's gonna be in. Depends though, again, like if we know that Tonali's then gets a suspension for more than the time that we think, then we have to think about, right, okay, permanent thing, and we probably have to start looking at trying to cut ties with Tonali at that point, because I can't imagine we would stick around and want to pay him his contract while he's out suspended for that long for the sort of suspension that he's getting. So
that would not be good. Like,
that wouldn't be good, but there would probably be ways in which we could terminate his contract without there being a big financial sort of, well, in terms of wages and compensation wise, I was thinking for like, but it's more just that initial transfer fee, and it'd be interesting to see if we pursue some sort of compensation from AC on that one. But in terms of what I'd like to see, I think if we hadn't had all this news with Tonali, I would have wanted us to explore a centre half in the Jan window, for sure, and maybe even look at another right winger. But now any of those priorities have to be put on hold, I think, to get a centre.
It's going to be so tough as well, because January is such a hard window, and then we've already got that kind of Newcastle tax type thing and people not wanting to deal with us and stuff. But then anyone who's got a centre mid's going to know we're looking for a centre mid, and it's going to get tricky to get a decent deal and on a good player. But like you say, centre half is where I wanted to be buying, especially right sided. So it'll be disappointing if we have to push that back further as well because of this. But one centre half we have been linked with a lot, who's playing very well, is Anderson for Palace.
Yep.
And did you see his goal the other week? He scored.
It was against Man U. Yeah, it was. He took a very well taken goal, and I don't know. His style of play seems to, from what I've seen, fit nicely with what we've already got with Fabian Schär. So I think in terms of getting a like for like guy in, who's played a few seasons now in the Prem for two teams, hasn't he? Fulham and Palace, and he's looked good at both. So I'm quite interested to get to see him live again this weekend and see, because they've done well. They've kept clean sheets this season. The combo of Gay and Anderson. So I'd like to. I'd definitely be thinking. Keep an eye on them for availability for the Jan window.
So you mentioned there, they've been keeping clean sheets, Palace, but they're not scoring a lot. I think they've got some injuries up front in their attacking positions. But with Palace, obviously Roy came in the end of last season, kept them up. Their style of play. What are you expecting of Palace when they come to St James's? Are you expecting them just to try and park the bus, or are they going to go for that kind of low block and really try and get us on the counter?
So you mentioned injuries. So injuries to Elise and Eze, who are two of their young, really exciting forward players, which. Obviously,
are they still out, or have they managed to come back in the international break? Or
no, they're going to be both unavailable for the weekend. Yeah. So, in terms of front three wise, they've been going with Edouard on one flank, Jordan Ayew, who seems to have just been playing forever in the Premier League, but he's on the other, and then Mateta through the middle. And yeah, not an awful lot of goals between the three of them, but and not a lot of pace either. So in terms of for them looking to sit and try and play counter, I can't imagine that. In terms of if we look at how they got their result away at Old Trafford, the 1-0 win, obviously got their goal from a set piece, and then defended for their lives and did a fantastic job. Like keeper, centre halves, like we're all just playing absolutely out their skin. So maybe that's their route if they get look to try and capitalise on any set pieces. But I think if we get the first goal, I'd like to think that we would just nullify any attempt of them trying to get back into the game, and it could be the case that we put up some more high numbers, high goal scoring game. But I was there last season though when we played Palace, and that
didn't you see him twice last season?
Seen him in the Carabao, and then but the Premier League one, they were both low scoring games, but the Premier League one finished 0-0, but that was the one where we had a goal ruled out by VAR, which was a completely legitimate goal. I think it was Willock with the header, and he was deemed to have fouled the keeper despite being pushed by the Palace player into the keeper. I'm hoping obviously we don't get any more VAR antics at this game this weekend, but that game is tough though, because again Palace they are quite a defensive minded team, so I would say, especially with the centre halves in form, that whoever starts up front for us needs to win those battles early and make themselves felt, their presence felt.
Well, that's kind of where my head was going. Like remembering last season, we didn't play very well against Palace really, and we found it tough to get goals against them. But looking at their results so far this season, it's interesting because they're just below us in the league. I know obviously we've had a very hard start, and I think we've lost more games or the same amount of games as we did the whole of last season already, haven't we? So
it's up there.
They have actually picked up their wins are against like Sheffield United, which I think most teams are going to win against Sheffield United this season, and then they've managed to win against Wolves in a 3-2 game. So they've obviously bagged a few goals in that one, but the rest of them, they, like you say, they are low scoring. They're like a 0-0 against Fulham. They obviously got that 1-0 against Man U, 0-0 against Forest. So I think we've got to go into this game pretty confident. Do you think since the West Ham game, we should be kind of, with the international break and stuff, we should be back to our best now, coming back? We should have some, obviously like Joe Linton and stuff are meant to be in contention. Do you expect us to be back to our best and go out and give a really good performance? Or do you think it might be one of them where it takes us a bit of time to kick back in?
No, I think the opposite. Yeah, I think we look as though we're firing again. We look as though we're firing on all cylinders. I know the international break came at an awkward time because I thought the result away at West Ham, I know it was gutting to concede a late equaliser, but the manner in which we performed in that second half was like the team of last season. I mean, most of the game we were I'd say we were the better side for the whole 90 minutes, but especially the second half, like we were completely in control and deserved to come back from behind. But yeah, like I say, unfortunate we conceded, but Isak, looking on form again, and yeah, I think games against with no disrespect to Palace, but the teams like Palace, like the ones who should be occupying mid to lower table, like especially at home, like these are the games that we should be thinking is bread and butter. Like we need to get like the performance right, aim for the clean sheet, but look to play our way and get some goals and look, like we're heading in the direction that we should, which is back towards the top four.
So another player that we've obviously had out for a long time now is Joe Willock, who is apparently he's been on the grass for a while. I don't know how much he's been training with the team, but hopefully he's been training with the team during this international break. Because there's rumours it could be the return for him, even if it's just on the bench. But that would be great to see, wouldn't it? Like, I feel like we have missed him, especially at the start of the season. We were missing him in his break and runs.
Yeah, definitely, and like we mentioned with the whole Tonali thing, just having an extra face back playing in that centre midfield will be, a welcome relief. And I know we've seen Anderson and a few others kind of this season sort of pushing their way up the pecking order, but Willock will feel like he's got a point to prove to get himself back fit and back in the team. And obviously we know what his versatility is like as well. He can play more advanced down the left as well, which again gives us another option, so it's not always just Anthony Gordon out there, and could free up Gordon up to play off the right or through the middle where needed. So I'm excited to see what he's going to be like coming back. Obviously Big Joe as well. I know he's not been out for as long, but obviously always good to have him back in the midfield areas as well. So there's a good few that are.
Well, like you say, with Gordon, he just had the suspension, didn't he? So he should be back. Haven't heard anything else regarding his fitness, so hopefully he just picks up from where he left off. Obviously didn't go away with England because he wasn't selected, which in the media Southgate was getting quite a bit of stick for not picking him, which was good to see because he's obviously been playing out of his skin. Deserved the call up, in my opinion, but probably good for us in that he's going to be fresh and raring to go.
Definitely.
Like you say, like at the minute he's just playing every single game because Barnes is injured. So getting Joe Linton, who can obviously play there, and Willock, who can play there as well, back in, or at least like them two rotating like they did last season, is going to be great for us and for Gordon as well. Gives us something a bit different, doesn't it? I think Isak and Wilson apparently are both in contention of playing, but then neither of them are like 100%. I think you were saying Isak's got a reported groin injury. But with Wilson, you would think he should be back because he was struggling for fitness before the international break. Obviously didn't get selected by England. You would think because of his injury, potentially he would have picked Watkins anyway, but so yeah, hopefully we've got one of them available at least.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I know we've talked about Gordon could play through the middle if neither of those two are fit, but then there's an awful lot of reshuffling needed to be done if that's the case. So hopefully Isak can shake off this slight groin injury, but Wilson, even if he's one to appear off the bench as he has done on a couple of occasions this season and still look to threat, that would be also much needed as well. And I think Wilson, he's got a decent record against Palace as well. So yeah, let's hope he's fit.
So are we thinking we'll probably go with the put up obviously, and then the centre backs being Cher and Lascelles still for now?
I think so. Yeah, with again the usual two, Burn and Trips. I know Trips had two appearances for England off the bench, but both been home games for England. So
Livramento played for the under-21s as well. So
he did. So again, good to see that our options down the right back of getting international recognition. So I'd imagine
Big Dan Burns just had his contract extended as well. So
yes, we did
well
mention
deserved.
that. Yeah, 3-year deal, is it? So
Takes him to 25, I think.
25, yeah.
I think that's what I saw.
Yeah,
Which,
so
I don't know if it's a new deal, so he's getting more money as well, or if it's just an extension, like a year's extension. I'm not sure, but it's good because obviously his age, he's getting on a bit, but he's definitely, he's still starting left back, so it's good to get him locked down. I mean, I'm sure he'd stay as long as he can, being, from Blythe and that, but it's good to get his contract locked down, and he's deserved it. I mean, it should hopefully as well be another positive for him, and he keeps playing the way he is.
Definitely.
But then so the tough ones, I think, if you talk about the wingers, it's going to be Gordon. It's probably going to be Miggy, although he's been away on international, but potentially Murphy. But I think Miggy will start.
Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah.
So then the centre mids is going to be the tricky one.
That is going to be a tricky one, because otherwise you'd have just said...
Well, I say that, but could be just Bruno, Longstaff and Anderson.
It could be, yeah. Obviously, I would have said if the Tonali stuff hadn't happened, that he would have most likely been involved from the off. But yeah, I think in terms of the fact that some of these players are still coming back from injury, and I wouldn't imagine that you would force them into situations like a starting position for Joe Linton or Willock, that Anderson being the fitter of those ones to come in and to go alongside Longstaff and Bruno. So yeah, I think that most likely would be it. But
I've just been thinking there, we were talking before we came on, Tonali, there's probably not a chance he'll start, because even if he's allowed to play, which we're not 100% sure at this point whether he is or not, he's not going to be in the right headspace. So we said he'll not play. But I was just thinking, if we're going to end up losing him, maybe we do just stick him in so we get some more minutes out of him before.
I feel like everything will be scrutinised on him though. Literally, he could, every tackle, the crowd will be like, "Ooh, is he going in a bit harder there, looking for a cheeky yellow card?" Or you know, you know what the crowd are like. As soon as they've heard a bit of news like this, they'll latch onto it. So I cannot see, even if he was allowed to play, that Eddie would risk having somebody in there whose head is obviously going to be elsewhere. So that would be a major shock to see him in the lineup. That's for sure. It could be. Could we have seen his last game for the Toon? That is the thing which is going through my mind now.
It's going to be mad because, obviously, if say that did happen, which I'm still thinking that it won't happen, but when we've had this historical result against PSG, which will get played over and over again, it's going to be obviously he's played and he played well as well, so it's like he's going to be there in history for us, potentially only playing a handful of games.
Yeah.
And
mental.
yeah, we obviously need to talk about PSG, but if we just, before we move on, I think we were saying before we started recording that this is a great opportunity for Elliot Anderson. So if like he had a great preseason. For me, he's been playing well. Not every game like amazing, but he hasn't had any bad games and he's played pretty well. So hopefully he can take this opportunity with both hands. Now that he's kind of moved up the pecking order at least one spot. I know Joe Linton and Willock are going to come back and stuff, but at the minute it's his shirt to lose, really, in my opinion.
I'd say the same. Like, and he's getting so much hype, rightly so. Like, we're just talking there about Gordon getting maybe a look in for England, and we know Southgate has been talking about Anderson's chances. Obviously, he's looking. Scotland are hoping to keep a hold of him, especially now that they've qualified for Euro 2024. Like, Anderson. Yeah, for him, like, yeah, if he nails his place in this team, and obviously we're going in the right direction now. Obviously putting on performances in Europe like we've seen. Yes, he could really accelerate his chances of becoming a real star in the team, and take that really exciting pre-season form and put it into the actual regular season and get goals, get from midfield and live up to that potential. So yeah, excited to see if Eddie gives him that that freedom, that rubber stamp to be like, right, okay, go and prove yourself. So yeah, we'll see what if he does do that. But in some respects, if it is to be that he starts against Palace, then it's kind of got that feeling of like a game where Anderson could, do something and make a statement. It just seems kind of nicely. I don't know why. In my head, it just seems like a perfect fixture for him.
Yeah, get that goal from would be nice.
Yeah.
Well, let's. It doesn't look like Alex is joining, so let's have some predictions and then we can talk about PSG.
Yes.
I'm gonna say 2-0 to the Toon.
I'm gonna go on the same lines, clean sheet, but I'm gonna say 3-0.
Oh,
gonna say we get an extra one. Yeah. Always nice when you've got a home game to come back to after the international break and put on a performance for the fans. So yeah,
I went to the match with Pete while I was back in England, and I predicted the correct score before the game. But obviously we didn't do a podcast, so
I'll let you have the points. Go on. I'll allow it.
Well, if I can get it verified off Pete, I don't know if I will. With shot in the black gutter and I said to him, it's gonna be, and then I don't know if he'll remember that. Even if he does, he might not back us up just because he doesn't want us to have the points.
No, of course he won't.
So I was in Newcastle for the PSG game, but I couldn't get tickets in the ballot, so I ended up deciding I was just going to watch it at home with my dad, which in the end I was pretty happy with that decision because obviously it's like a historical kind of occasion. It was just like an amazing night. So now it's like we got to watch that together and stuff. But you were at the game, right? And you would have been at the game with your dad, I'm guessing.
Yeah, same. Just I feel like it's one which, if you've been watching all the games with your dad down the years, and it's one which, like, yeah, will live long in our memories for sure. Just out of, like, I don't know. It's funny because I had like a sneaky feeling, like, always like do a little like prediction as we're walking up to the ground with my dad, and yeah, something just felt like in the air that we could do something like special. Obviously, didn't expect it to pan out the way it did, but yeah, I think I might have said a draw, like mainly just going off like the form that we were going into the game with, and yeah, it obviously turned out.
Oh,
Oh, here he is.
Alex is here.
Fucking IT, yeah.
Just you're literally just in time to talk about PSG. So, Dom's just telling us about his experience going to the ground.
Yeah, no, it was
He turns
just
up for a big game.
here he is. He comes in and griefs us already, and I'm going to the Palace game, by the way. So like, we're putting Palace on the same level as PSG these days. Like, so
He loves a Palace game, doesn't he? He's there every season.
some would say that I've got a soft spot for Palace. Yeah, what was I saying? No, the atmosphere obviously was amazing going up to the ground. Like, everybody just was happy. Like, it was the first home game back in the Champions League for 20 years. Like, and it was just, town was buzzing. Like, so there was that sense that something special could happen. But like I say, I don't think anybody in their wildest minds could have like predicted it to have panned out the way it did. Like, what an absolute performance for the ages. Like, yeah, I know like some fans will be like, oh yeah, they'll have the DVDs out in the gift shop, like
DVDs.
like the El Classics, like the 5-0 against Man U. It'll be along there on the little
Goals
TV.
and gaffs for.
Goals, yeah, alongside goals and gaffs for, yeah. Yeah, but it definitely is going to be like talked about in the same manner and as which that Man U 5-0 game does. And yeah, obviously just so like lucky to have like been there and like witnessed it unfold, just like Mr. Dawson was as well.
Like, it's the first Champions League home game back in 20 odd years, like, and we pulled out that performance out the bag. Like, it was like the only time I've been at a match where I've been that like in disbelief was like when we were 4-0 up against Spurs after like 15, 20 minutes or whatever. I was like in complete disbelief. By the time that third goal went in, I was like, what the fuck? Because the goal, and what the fuck was Pete absolutely jabbed us in the lip, like, sort of celebrating. He fucking clocked us as he cheered. Obviously, like, his fucking blow was like an uppercut as well. Like,
it's some effort for him, like, yeah.
But, oh, what a performance, like, unbelievable. The atmosphere was phenomenal. And that just continued, like, until they scored, really, because even though with, like, 3-1 up, I think if we went through the match and it stayed 2-0, I think we would have been a bit more comfortable. It's the fact that they pull one back and you think, like, the momentum, is it going to change now? Are they going to, like, if they get one more, then we're in trouble. Obviously, you see these kind of, like, magical moments happen in the Champions League. You've seen it happen even against PSG with Man U a couple of years ago, scoring a few late goals. Like, these things happen in the Champions League. Like, Real 1% against City in the last couple of minutes 2 years ago. Like, it just, there was a lot of time left as well. So,
a lot.
I was nervous. Really
Oh.
nervous.
There was, well, don't forget, like, after they'd scored like that, and then was it Dembele had a runaway, like, and I think Lascelles did a fantastic job just coming across and like shepherding him away, but like, and he fired wide, but like, yeah, they came at us like after that Hernandez goal back, and I was thinking the same thing, like, oh God, just don't fuck it up, like, because yeah, after all this, like, we just don't want it to be deflated, like, by, you know, losing a free goal lead. But yeah, obviously Fabian Schär, like, fucking take a bow, like, that is just what a way, like. And again, like, back to the comparisons with the Man U 5-0, like, and Philippe Albert, like, lobbing Schmeichel. It's the same thing for me. It's just like one of our, like, classy centre halves, and he'll go down with the Philippe Alberts as being, like, one of our, like, most classy centre halves that we've ever had. And, like, for him to fucking bend that one in, like, past Donnarumma, who's, like, you know, he's meant to be, like, one of the best keepers in the world. And honestly, we made him look pony that night. He was like, and Fabian Schär, what a goal, what a way to cap it. And yeah, just unreal, absolutely unreal.
Even before that goal, though, like, did you feel like the atmosphere starting to build again? Like, as time went on and the clock was ticking down, like, St James's Park, it was starting to get a bit more, like, comfortable, a bit more confident, like, oh, we're all going to see this out. So, like, yeah, by the time, like, 10 minutes came, it was, like, building up again. 5 minutes came, it was starting to chant, everyone getting excited. So when that goal went in, it was just sheer euphoria, like, oh, the roof came off. Unreal, man.
Absolutely unreal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I obviously don't know what it was like hearing it. Well, I've watched some of the highlights back on the, obviously, quite a few times. But, like, obviously, live for you at home, like, I imagine the noise, like, from when the goals were going in. Like, I don't think there's been a louder night for me at St James's than that.
Yeah.
It was amazing noise.
It was great, like, because they kept focusing on Mbappe so much. And then obviously, like, there was a certain point where every time they just focused on him, like, his face was just like he was bottom lip tripping him up. But then he kept making, like, faces to the camera and stuff. It's like, it was just like quality to see him. Like, it was annoying me in the build up how, like, all the questions were around Mbappe and stuff. And it's like, come on, like, they've got so many quality players, and, like, you just keep asking the same question about Mbappe. How do you stop Mbappe? And then obviously, like, to see him basically just, like, give up, it was amazing. But yeah, obviously, I mean, I don't know what more you can say about it. I mean, people forget as well, we had a lot of injuries. Like you mentioned, obviously Lascelles was playing, but we had injuries in other areas as well. Like, we had quite a lot of first team players out, and we still managed to pull that off. It's yeah, I mean, don't know what else to say about.
Well, no, and it sets up perfect, obviously, for, like, thinking, yeah, we're not here to just make up numbers. Like, we're not here to just have, like,
we're top of the group, aren't we? So
yeah, we're top of the group, and, like, we've got Dortmund to come at home and then away, and if we get, you know, another win against Dortmund out of those two games, then yeah, we're looking very, very much like we can qualify and yeah, go maybe have a little run at it. Why not? Like, expectations were so low, and now we just blown those expectations wide open with the last two results. Getting the point away at AC was a hard fought point, and then yeah, blitz and PSG like we did. Yeah, why not? Why not?
I'd love to see us just, like, get through the group to get another, like, Hollywood night, just pull another team out the bag. And, like some people are saying, like, oh, if we drop down to Europa League, we could have a bit of a run at it. But for me, I'd rather just get through and, like, just face another fucking Hollywood team, like
2 legs against Real. Fuck it, like,
yeah, like, that would be absolutely amazing. And
yeah.
even if we pulled Real Madrid, though, I'd still be like, get them to St James's Park, we'll give them a good game. So
oh, it would be like, right, Bellingham, let's make everything will be about him, and then we'll just have pictures of Bellingham just, like, with his bottom lip out, like, when we're tanning Real Madrid at home.
Not like you're getting ahead of yourself or anything.
You can only dream, can't you?
He's predicted a 3-0 win against Palace as well, Dawes. So we might as well, before we sign off, get your prediction.
Wait, they have a lot of injuries, like, don't they?
Yeah.
Obviously, they're missing Eze, they're missing Elise, like, a lot of their attacking talent. Like, the struggle, like, I'm sure they've, like, started, like, Jordan Ayew against her for, like, 3 or 4 years now, and he's fucking pony every time.
Don't say that.
We have mentioned the fact that Ayew seems to have been in the Premier League for about a million years, but yeah.
I'd be disappointed if they score, I'm not gonna lie. Like, even if, like, Botman isn't back, like, Lascelles clearly can do a fucking job now. He's shown against Man City, he's shown against PSG. I'd be gutted if we concede, but I think it might be a tight game because their centre halves are in fantastic form as well. Obviously Gahey, even playing against Italy when he came on the other day, I thought he looked sharp. Him and Anderson have been, like, class this season. I think they've only conceded about 8 goals in 8 games or something like that.
It's 7.
Haven't conceded many, is it? So
I was just having a look before, and I think they've scored 7, conceded 7 in the Prem.
So yeah, they're looking really solid. So and obviously last season, fucking 0-0s all around, tight game. So I'll be happy with a 1-0. Take the 3 points onto the next one, on to Dortmund.
Very good. All right. Well, I mean, Alex, do you have anything you wanna mention on your little pop up on the show?
Toon of fucking class. We're gonna win the lot. I'm gonna get my suit measured again because I'm going to Wembley for the Champions League final.
You've put on some weight since last season.
Too right. All these away days, Jesus.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me, guys. As I said, we're back after a little hiatus, but we'll be back and giving you content every week from now on, he says. If you do like it, make sure you subscribe. The watch is subscribed. You should subscribe. Hit the notification bell, and we'll be back to review the game. Hopefully, obviously 3 points, and we'll bring you any news, especially on the Tonali situation, as we get it. So we'll catch you in the next one.